Ready, Darwin? Good morning. How are you?
Great, how are you?
Awesome, I'm good. How are you? Come on up here, Darwin. And good morning to you. How is everyone this morning? I'm going to invite you to stand up right where you are. Welcome to Tucson New Thought in our time of celebration this morning. Thank you for being with us. I would, where did I put my, can you bring my remote control? I've left it right there. It's on that green book. No. It's always something, isn't it? Hi, Carrie-Mon. So we would love for you to share this video. If you're watching on Facebook, hey, you know what? Start a watch party or just share it. And but if you start a watch party, you can connect with friends. And you can actually have a private chat with just those people who are in your watch party. That's kind of a cool thing, right? If you're watching on YouTube, click that share button in the window right there. Oh, it's right? I don't know where the framing is. Am I in the right? It's like right there. That's where the button is. Yeah, right there. While you're doing that, I'm going to invite you also to stand up and dance, like I said, like no one's watching. I said that last week. Dance like no one's watching because, hey, we're probably all in our living rooms or bedrooms, and so let's have a good time and dance to this first song. What do you say? Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Darwin. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Mike. And good morning once again. Woo! It's an interesting paradigm, this whole thing that we're doing these days, isn't it? Don't you think so?
That's fascinating.
It is fascinating. It's, it is the proliferation of a brave new world, and that's what I think is ultimately unfolding in all of this experience. We are welcoming a brave new way of being. So let's just take that to heart and allow the love that is rooted in this here and now moment to proliferate, not just from this place, but from each and every one of us who are connected with this virtual thing called the celebration service of Tucson New Thought. And let's allow that to magnify and spread throughout the world. That's what I'm here to do. How about you?
Magnify.
Magnify. So just in case you were wondering, I am Reverend Jonathan Zenz. I'm the founding spiritual director of Tucson New Thought. I am now going to be stepping in on Wednesday, officially as my first day, as the senior minister of Unity of Tucson. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to connect during these extraordinary times. I'm not saying these unprecedented times any longer. I'm saying these are extraordinary times. It's extraordinary, right? Yeah, and I like that. I like the feeling of that a little bit more than unprecedented.
I like that too.
Yeah, unprecedented sounds like, oh my gosh, it's unprecedented, and that feels really heavy.
Ominous.
Yeah, it feels ominous, and I choose not to allow it to be ominous. I love extraordinary experiences. So let's let this be an extraordinary time. We are here to celebrate our understanding of one thing and one thing only, and that is that we are love. We are one. Just like we say in the song, we are love, we are one big family, we are a human family, we are a spiritual family, and it is such a pleasure to be able to celebrate that. Our vision at Tucson New Thought is to create a world that works for everyone, and we implement this utilizing our mission, which is to provide practical tools for personal transformation and awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. And here's what I know about you. I know this beyond a shadow of a doubt. And if you are in the room, I want you to say this with me. So, maybe some of the mics will pick it up. But everyone, I want you to hear this, that you are magnificent. You are absolutely magnificent. It is the truth of your beingness. There is a core, a light, there is an energy at the core of your beingness which is magnificent. It is God. It is divine. It is love. And so what I would love for you to do is to reach out to those other people who are watching, utilizing the chat function. Just say good morning to them. Let them know their magnificence in your own unique, individualized way. And I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that, and I'm going to let Christy know. While you're doing that, I want Christy to know that I see you. I know that you are magnificent. Grateful to have you here this morning. Yes.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah. Michael, you are magnificent. Thank you for being here. Just so people who know who's in the room, Tyler and Carrymon, Logan and Darwin are here with us. They're all supporting the experience today in their own various ways. And so grateful to have you all here.
So grateful.
Yeah. I am going to invite Logan to join me on stage.
Hello.
Good morning. We're going to do this ceremony that we do every single week called Lighting the Flames of Faith. And lighting the flames of faith it's an important part of what I choose to experience and express in this world is in my ministry, where we are lighting these particular candles with this understanding that for each candle that we are honoring a faith tradition, a religion, a spiritual ideology that is part of this infinite presence, this infinite world. And as we do so, we are affirming that each and every one of them is rooted in that golden thread of love. So I'm going to invite Christy to noodle a little bit while we do this, if you would. And we first light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the divine will of love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them, and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony. And this final candle we light is a candle to represent the healing of any circumstance which requires divinity to be revealed. For that is the true nature of healing, the revelation of the divine creative energy at the source of all creation. And so, this is your candle for whatever is in your mind and in your heart that requires the light. Thank you, Logan. The candle on your right is our peace candle. And we keep the peace candle consistently illuminated with the understanding that as it is consistently illuminated, it is a reflection of the consistent illumination of peace in our hearts. And as we allow that illumination of peace to grow and grow from our hearts, we spread the entire world, we cover the entire world with peaceful thoughts, peaceful decisions, peaceful experiences. And so we honor this candle as a reflection of the consistent illumination of peace in our hearts. And we do so with this, the poem or the prayer for protection, which we've slightly modified, written by James Dillett Freeman. So I invite you, as it comes up on your screen, to read this with me. Truly, the light of peace surrounds us. The love of peace enfolds us. The power of peace protects us. And the presence of peace watches over us. Wherever we are, peace is. That is the infinite truth. Peace is present wherever we are. And I would like for you also to take to heart our affirmation this month. Oh, it's the last Sunday of the month. I shouldn't have looked at you in that moment. I think we're all feeling really emotional because this is our last Sunday in this space. It's our last Sunday with the singular identity of Tucson New Thought as we move next week to integrate the Tucson New Thought and the unity of Tucson communities. It's something really touching about that. So, yeah, I'm having a moment. I invite you to say, with feeling in your heart around these words, don't just recite them by rote, but allow yourself to say this with feeling, this affirmation that we have utilized this entire month. And I think it's so appropriate today and every day. Let's say this together. I am infinitely unfolding in more magnificent ways every day. Oh, let's do that one more time. I am infinitely unfolding in more magnificent ways every day. Yeah. We have a special treat today in terms of a guest singer who's providing. Are you going to be okay? Do you need me to get to?
I can cry and play at the same time.
Okay. You know what? I've been known to sing and cry at the same time. So.
That's a little harder because the mucus, but this works.
All right. But we do have a special guest who is providing our special music for the day, and I'm so grateful that he reached out to me and said, I want to sing this song, and it's a very appropriate song, I think, right now for everything that we are experiencing. So please welcome Darwin.
Yes.
Yes.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of the lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark, At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone.
It's Darwin, everyone. You can go cry off camera now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Darwin. You know, so I stepped off camera. It's so weird to think that it's such a virtual thing we're doing right now. I stepped off camera and I went and I took a sneak peek at some of the chat that's happening in both Facebook and on YouTube. And you know, essentially what was said was how appropriate that song is, and it really is appropriate. And I really want to thank you for saying this is the song that needs to be sung. And I think bringing this to this experience as we find our time being finalized here at Tucson New Thought in this particular physical space, I like to have that reminder that we are never alone. We are never alone. I mean, at the very least, we have ourselves, and we can consider ourselves like when we're, you know, not around other people, we might think of that as alone, but we are never alone when we understand that there is an infinite power and presence. There's an infinite source. There's an infinite creative energy that is everywhere present. And so as long as we deepen our understanding that that is everywhere, no matter what, we are never alone. So you will never walk alone. I've been thinking a lot about, well, you know, I mean, who hasn't been thinking a lot about what's happening in our world right now? Is there anyone who hasn't been giving it a lot of thought? I think it's at the forefront of all of our minds, because we have no choice. It's everywhere. And, you know, if you turn on the news, it's all the news is talking about. It's almost nothing else. And so it feels in some ways like we're so immersed in it. It feels like right now, what comes up for me is it sometimes feels like it's never going to end, this challenging time we're living through. And, you know, in the lyric of the song, it says, at the end of the road is a golden sky. It's golden sky, right? Yeah. At the end of the road is a golden sky. And I really allowed myself to go with that today because what it says to me is there is an end. We can live in the expectation of an end of this experience. And so let's allow that to resonate in our hearts. Now, what that end looks like, when that end happens, I don't know. But there is an end. This entire experience has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So it's had a beginning. We're in the middle of it now, but it will have an end. So I take this, You'll Never Walk Alone, as my theme song today. I take it as my theme song too because I want to remind you that even though we are having a virtual experience, you can always reach out to me. So you are never alone because I have committed myself to a life of service, a life of being present, a life of being available to those who need the connection and need the spiritual guidance. So I just want you to know that you are never alone because you can always reach out to me. When I was being ordained, the process within the construct that I went through to become a minister is you are licensed first. You actually don't become ordained in ministry until certain years of service. And so the minimum at that point was 3 years of service if you were a senior minister. And so I was a senior minister for 3 years, and then I went to have my ordination panel, and they make a determination around whether you are ordained. And what it means to be an ordained minister is that you are a minister for life. They cannot take away, it's like being in tenure, they can't take away your license. They will not, unless you did something really egregious, it's not going to happen. And the reason that I bring this up is because one of the questions that I was asked in my ordination panel, and this has always, always stuck with me, was this question: if you were not ordained today, what would you do? That's one of the questions that I got asked. If you were not ordained today, what would you do? And I took a moment, I took a breath, and I said, you know what? I would do exactly what I'm doing. I would allow my life to be lived in service to uplift and support. I would live my life in service to teach new thought principles. I would live my life with this consciousness in mind that my presence here is for the purpose of healing the world. And I heal the world first and foremost by healing my own mind. And so it is up to me to stand as a beacon. This is what I have committed myself to by being an ordained minister, to stand as a beacon for this thing called healing. And as I referenced with the candle, the healing candle, healing in this philosophy means the revelation of the divine nature of every circumstance, of every experience. And here's what people are gonna be like, wait, what? Because here's what I want you to know. The coronavirus is part of God. The coronavirus is a divine experience. This thing, it is divine. And we get to decide what our relationship to the experience is. That is the great choice and the great power that we have at hand. So we're living a pandemic, right? Y'all like that word?
Oh, great word.
You like it? So, because pandemic actually may not mean what you think it means if you look at the root of the word pandemic. And I actually am grateful that we are living a pandemic. Pandemic, we look at it, and the word that so many people are understanding it to mean is this ill effect that is happening and being experienced worldwide. We usually relate it to some kind of ill effect, right? But if you look at the root of the word, pan meaning all, demos meaning people. Pandemic literally means all people. And so I take to heart that this pandemic is reflective of the wholeness, the unified wholeness that we get to experience now. And this has brought the world together in a way that we have not experienced, I think, since 9/11. So we have a group on Facebook. So it's a private group, but you're welcome to join. So if you want to be added to this group, it's called the TNT Family Potluck. If you want to be added to that group, just send me a message on Facebook and I will add you to that Facebook group. But yesterday, late in the day, I had spent a lot of my day yesterday thinking about all this that was going on. I said, and then, of course, thinking about what I wanted to say this morning. And so I wrote this whole thing. I said, some of this might show up in our virtual service tomorrow. It may not. But I wrote this, so it's clearly showing up. I wrote this. I said, why is this in our experience now? This thing called COVID-19 is a reflection of a tacit, underlying viral consciousness that has until now remained below the level of awareness in the collective. This collective consciousness is one of distrust, uncertainty, fear, othering, scapegoating, and more. The conscious impressions of the collective have created an effect. And so what we are experiencing now is the effect of this thing that has really been under the surface. And I think it's been like punching to try to make itself known in the activities and the experiences of our lives. It's very clear to me, as we've talked about in various spiritual circles, that we are on the precipice of a new world order, that this, I think, is part of it, that what is being brought to the surface is a conscious, collective idea that is showing up in the world so that each and every one of us can take stock of what it means for us, and we can choose to do something about it if we choose to do something about it. Because as Ernest Holmes said, anything the mind thinks, it can rethink. If, therefore, by the law of cause and effect, we have produced unpleasant conditions, we should be able, by the same law, to produce an entirely different effect. So there's been this underlying, below the level of awareness, conscious acceptance of things like othering, things like scapegoating, things like uncertainty, and things like fear, that now is being illuminated in our experience. And as it becomes illuminated, I can look at my world and say, this is the world that I see. Is this the world I choose to continue to live in? Because I know my mind. I can utilize the law of cause and effect to produce an entirely different circumstance. We are not subject to anything except the limitations in our own use of mind. There is nothing from which we need to be saved except the limitations in our own use of mind. There is no power pressing against us except the limitations in our own use of mind. We are the ones who are in charge. Are you seeing a pattern here? The only thing that we have to address is the way in which we are, each and every one of us, individually and individualizing the infinite power and presence of creation. We are experiencing an opportunity to put this teaching to the test. But I want to be very clear. This is not a God-ordained test, because there is no thing outside the self that creates any kind of test that we need to experience. This is a test that has uprooted itself from the collective to say, here. But we're all responsible for it, and that is not to say that any one of us is to blame for it. We are at the point where we can look at the way we are able to respond. We are response-able. And so our work is to utilize our mind in such a way that this experience becomes short-lived. That's what I choose to do. We have the opportunity to live the principle actively and utilize it to change the world. I said last week, I say it all the time because it's one of my favorite quotes of Ernest Holmes. One alone in consciousness with the infinite constitutes a complete majority. We can, through the power of our consciousness, change this experience. But it takes the work. It takes the work to actively live the principle that we are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe governed by our use of a spiritual law, which is the law of cause and effect. This experience is the result of infinite mind, and it is mind that will change the experience. So the learning opportunity here is this. We have experienced the uprising of a circumstance that was rooted in collective consciousness. What is collective consciousness? Collective consciousness is the common beliefs and thoughts among a group. So there are I want to make sure there are not more than 10. There are 8 of us in here. There are 8 of us in the room. We are all physically distant from one another, to be abundantly clear, because you can't see that on camera. But there is a collective consciousness which has been created in this room. There is a collective consciousness which has been created in this city, if we look at all the inhabitants of this city, and so on and so forth. A collective consciousness of the state. These are all these borders are simply illusions in mind, and so we can look at it and say there's a collective consciousness of the state, but that is actually something that I'm limiting in my own mind. So I choose to allow the collective consciousness of the universe to be the point from which I now express. And I know that actually, I really do trust that the common beliefs and thoughts among this group, this universal wholeness, are in alignment with this being done. So we've had a worldwide, we're having a worldwide conscious experience. Perhaps it had been at the below the level of awareness But now that it is in our experience, it rises to the level of awareness. So this is our work. Our work, should we choose to accept it, is to shine a light on this darkness and faithfully invite those ill effects to go. This is not Pollyanna thinking. This is knowing who we are. This is knowing that we are the point of power. We are the presence. We are the good. I continued on Facebook, I wrote this. I think that what is on the other side of this experience is the new world order. This is the seismic shift in the collective consciousness of the world so many have predicted. The breaking through of the butterfly through the chrysalis is not an easy or pain-free process, but it is a necessary process for the life of the butterfly. So if you are willing to allow yourself to move with grace and with ease through this painful time, boy, what is on the other side of this is magnificent, and more magnificent than I think even any of us can comprehend at this moment. But I know that the magnificence is radically transforming this entire planet. Today's message is called New Living in Common Unity. New Living in Common Unity. We are faced with the choice of how we proceed. What comes up for me, actually, if I'm going to take it, I'm going to talk less about the worldwide effects now. And I want to talk about the world that we have created within this spiritual community and the spiritual community that we are moving to and integrating with. And I know that there are people who are watching from Unity of Tucson, and what a magnificent opportunity for us in a very unexpected way to start to integrate our communities. You know, I'm really excited by that. What I would love for us to do as we integrate these two communities is to not bring this experience, this reflection of the world, into the world we are creating together. We have an opportunity for a collective upliftment as two spiritual communities who are deciding to be one. So the question then becomes for me, will we take the opportunity to learn and grow, or will we let the perception of differences divide us? At our core, we are pandemic. We are all people. We are one. One people, living on one planet, joining as one family. We all are one. And so my call to you is to say this: let Tucson New Thought and Unity of Tucson become a beacon in the world to shine the light on a new way to engage, a new way of living, a new life. We can be the point of power that shifts the collective consciousness of the world. And note that I didn't say a point that can contribute. We alone, as a collective, can shift the consciousness of the world. We are a mental majority because one alone in consciousness with the infinite constitutes a complete majority, but the one can be the collective of this common unity, this community. My call to you, and this is your homework. Oh, you thought you all were going to get away with no homework, eh? Canada's coming out. My call to you, your homework, is to be the health you seek. Engage that through prayer, treatment, whatever you choose to call it. Engage it by actively using your mind. Be the community you seek by actively engaging your mind through prayer, through treatment, whatever you call it. Be the love you seek. Let these prayers be answered by the actions of your life. That is new living in common unity. Namaste. as everyone returns to their instruments, I invite you to relax right where you are and allow yourself to take to heart whatever may be the one thing, the kernel, the nugget of truth that has resonated with you, and let it be present. As we allow ourselves to move to this time of settling in consciously to this good. And I know that as I reflect upon what has moved through me to be expressed here today, that there is that which is moving me into expansion and expression in my life to be the good, to be the joy, to be the harmony. And so I take this moment here and now to allow it to be present in the silence. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. As my heart opens up to the voice, I awake to these precious moments when I hear all that could ever be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find myself. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. As my heart opens up to the voice, I awake to these precious moments when I hear all that could ever be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. Oh, I find God. I find myself. So it was, and so it is, and so it shall always be. Namaste. We're all very emotional today. Yeah. I just like to take in, I like to have the experience of just taking in the energy. We create the experience of energy. We don't create energy. We create the experience that we have of energy. And this experience today for me has been rooted in love and joy and knowing that I am the point at which I can change the world. So your support is needed to ensure that we can continue this connection. It's like I say, it's extraordinary times, and we have this connection. So I would love for you to take the next few moments to click on the link that is in the description field of this video to make a donation today, because as we come together in this virtual way, your support is needed now more than ever to ensure that we can, this takes resources to be able to do this, and so it is necessary. If you were here in the room in person and you would have put something into that basket as it went around, I would encourage you to make a donation in that amount right here and right now. So click that link that is in the description field. And your support in any amount means the world to us. It supports us through this time. This is your spiritual community, and I encourage you to join in supporting it. Let's read it together as you acknowledge the good. Let's read together the divine givingness statement. Here we go. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that Spirit is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of my spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. We're going to give you a little time to make that contribution as we sing the Abundance Celebration. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Yeah. Oh, so thank you so much for your giving this. I just want to bless everything that has come through this virtual experience that has supported this experience and the experiences that are to unfold as we move forward in this integrated sense of community between Tucson New Thought and Unity of Tucson. I know that everything that has been collected and transmitted through the ethers of electronic giving it supports this space, it supports the work we do, and it is utilized with the highest integrity by the leadership of these organizations. And so I am in gratitude for all that has been offered here today. And I let it be, I let it ride, I let it be so as I relax, release, let go, allow, and know that the good is always present in this. And so it is. Yeah. So, a couple of things just to let you know about. What? Yes. So we will continue to be virtual essentially until further notice. The order that came from the city of Tucson is that non-essential businesses are to cease operations, which essentially means we are supposed to be closed to the public, which is why we don't have any public in here. So next week, it's going to change, however, because we're going to be going and utilizing, because next week, as we have integrated with Unity of Tucson, we will be going to having one Sunday virtual gathering at 10 a.m. Arizona time. So you were here for 10:30 today. You're going to be shifted a half hour earlier. What that also means is we're not going to be doing the 9 o'clock meditation. Of course, I may change my mind around that. I know that I can change my mind. Here's what I would also like you to know. It will continue to be online at the Tucson New Thought Facebook page, the Tucson New Thought YouTube page, but I am looking to also include it on the Unity of Tucson Facebook page and the Unity of Tucson YouTube page. So if I can facilitate it streaming to all 4 of those locations, we'll be in good shape. Because we are going virtual, for sure for at least the next 2 Sundays, that does also mean that we are not going to be doing the Sunrise Easter Labyrinth Walk because we are not going to be gathering people together. So that's canceled as of this point. But you know what? Let's call it postponed, because we can always, when we come back together in community, we can do a Sunrise Labyrinth Walk, and we can say that it's Easter, because Easter is a construct in the mind that we get to decide when Easter is. It doesn't have to be, rooted in when the full moon happened. That's my decision, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah.
I like that.
Just as a reminder, too, there is a link in the description of this video for Social Time, a virtual social opportunity following today's celebration. It is a Zoom link, so if you have utilized Zoom web conferencing technology, that should be fairly easy. If you click that link and you have not used it before, you will be invited to download a small application. Perfectly safe for your computer. It taps into your camera and your microphone on your computer so that we can all have face-to-face time and have some conversation in real time with each other. So it's not just this presentational style that you're experiencing right now. That also goes in line with, so that's today. Basically in about 10 minutes, I will be live on Zoom. Also, for the time being, every single weekday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, Reverend Steph St. Amand and I, she's one of my colleagues in Southern California, she and I have committed ourselves to being present on Zoom for what we're calling our virtual coffee break every single day. A lot of people are working from home and they're missing that opportunity when you have a coffee break and you're over at the water cooler, to have face-to-face time and have some conversation. So we go online at 1 p.m. Pacific, and it's usually about 30 minutes, just a quick conversation, a check-in to see how people are doing. So that Zoom link is also in the description field of this video that you're watching right now. And I think when this is all over, and I use over in quotes because we can decide for it to be over now, right? That's the power of our mind. When this is all over, I think that we should have a great big party.
Definitely.
Definitely. Yeah. What do you say? Are you all in for a party?
Party time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Woo!
Yeah. Party! I want to say thank you to everybody who made this virtual experience possible. I want to say thank you to Tyler and to Carrymon. Tyler on sound, Carrymon ensuring that there's an access point for you to see and hear. She's on our video and monitoring the webcast today. I want to say thank you to Logan for helping with lighting the candles. I really want to say thank you, Darwin, for providing our special music today and that special song.
Oh.
So magnificent. And I want to say thank you to Christy and to Michael for your magnificence in expressing this musical magnificence that we are. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for being present, for allowing your light to shine, and for connecting with this community.
Thank you, Jonathan, for your leadership. Thank you for your dedication. And thank you for your magnificent love.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I think as a precursor to the party that we're going to have,
Yes.
we should celebrate with our final song. Here we go. Thanks for being here. You guys want to come up here? The word has been spoken. The songs have been sung. Our hearts have been opened together as one. Center of creation, we are divine congregation, we are no separation, we are here we stand, the power of one hand in hand. We shine like the sun, here we stand, together as one family, here we stand. The truth has been spoken, the message received. Our hearts have been opened to what we believe. Center of creation, we are divine revelation, we are no separation, we are are, here we stand, the power of one hand in hand. We shine like the sun, here we stand, together as one family. Here we stand, the power of one hand in hand. We shine like the sun, here we stand, together as one family. Here we stand, here we stand, here we stand, here we stand. Make it a magnificent week, everyone. Namaste. Bye.